We've all had them. Phone calls from unknown numbers claiming to be Amazon or the taxation department. Phishing emails asking you to unlock your account, or a Nigerian prince promising you riches. And even unsolicited marketing material from a company you purchased something off that one time long ago. Millions are scammed every year, the total loss in the billions of dollars. According to ScamWatch, the most common scams based on the amount of money stolen are investment scams, followed by romance, phishing, and billing scams. In 2022, over 56% of all emails were spam, or about 122 billion per day, with 36% of those being marketing emails. A friend of mine is studying cybersecurity, and he had over 100 scam texts flagged by his phone at one point. To understand why he was being targeted, we first need to understand how your information is collected. This can be done in several ways, from providing your info directly with those with malicious intent, being sold by the person or service you provided it to, or having it exposed in a data breach. In the US, you even have data brokers that sell your information to anyone willing to pay for it. A quick search of your email or phone number on haveibeenpwned.com can show if your information has been in any major data breaches. This can include things like phone numbers, emails, passwords, and identification, just to name a few. Almost everyone has been included in a data breach at some point. These data breaches can be devastating depending on what was leaked. A driver's license or passport can allow someone to steal your identity, allowing them to open credit cards or take out loans, leaving you to front the debt. Leaked passwords can allow criminals to take over that account, and others too if you reuse the same passwords. Leaked phone numbers and emails can leave you swimming in spam. While you can reduce your risk and the amount of spam you receive significantly using some easily implemented techniques, it's impossible to prevent all of it, as we are a part of society. When we were born, our information was recorded. So you can't always protect yourself, but you can learn to only give out your real info when strictly necessary. If your current information has already been leaked, there's nothing you can do to stop them from using it until you replace it. That might sound daunting, but if you've been using the same bad practices for the last 20 years, the only way forward is to start fresh. If you primarily get spam emails, worry about that first. But there's no point in creating a new email address if you're just going to end up in the same situation. So it's time to act smarter. Instead of one email that you provide to everything and everyone, you have one new private email address that receives emails from alias email addresses. There are several services that allow you to achieve this with both free and paid options. These alias addresses can be categorized into groups such as one for social media, one for online shopping, and maybe one for most likely to send spam. You could even have addresses for each site for added protection, if you wished. None of these alias emails exist in the sense of a normal email account. They simply forward your email they receive to your real account. And it works in the other way too. You can reply just like a normal email, and the recipient will see the alias address, not your real one. If the alias address is leaked in any data breach or begins receiving spam, you simply cut it off. Because you only used it for one or a few services, you can just relink those accounts to a new alias email without compromising your real account. By having an alias as your login, you can also prevent someone who knows your real email from logging in. You can alias just about anything, or even go as far as setting up a second separate email for personal communication, because sometimes the weakest link in your privacy and security is your friends and family. Many previous computer malware has been distributed via email, stealing an infected user's contacts and forwarding itself on. Any friends or family that have uploaded their contacts to social media sites like Facebook are also giving away your info without your knowledge or consent. This is how Facebook can track users and know people that you know, even when you aren't friends on Facebook or don't have an account. These have been referred to as ghost profiles. But before we continue, I think it's time to have a word from our sponsor, myself, and my application, iTest. Are you doing your own teardown or repair? Test your phone with iTest. Available for both iOS and Android, iTest provides the ability to test hardware functions of a phone or tablet, with both a semi-automatic mode or manual mode, allowing you to easily test functions that would otherwise be too complicated without the aid of such an application. These include things like the compass, gyroscope, proximity and light sensors, or even screen burn-in. At the end of testing, you can get a nice little overview of your results and easily share them if needed. Phone numbers are also another highly targeted means of communication. They're harder to change and usually directly tied to our identity. I have 2 phone numbers myself, my personal number, which only my friends and family have, and another which I use when I'm required to provide a number for something important or verification. Otherwise, I'll just fill in all zeros if it lets me. Some countries around the world, including the US, don't require ID to obtain a phone number. This allows for aliasing services just like that of email. However, bad laws like those here in Australia mean we have to prove our identity to obtain a phone number. This system would lead to exposing half the population's personal information in the Optus data breach. ID wasn't just used to verify the person, but it was also stored, and once leaked, left those vulnerable to identity theft. Those affected had to cancel their driver's licenses and have them reissued. A friend of mine had to go through this process twice because of Optus and another similar breach. In both cases, there was nothing he could have done, as he was required to provide his ID by law. In this case, you might argue a national verification service by the government may be the only way to mitigate the issue, as trusting one entity is better than having to trust 10. After all, the government has your info already. But this system could provide greater privacy concerns and allow governments to track you even further. Unfortunately, the need to provide ID is only getting worse. There has been efforts in many places around the world to make people provide their ID to access certain online content in order to prevent underage audiences from viewing or signing up for an account. And this isn't just what you think. This includes social media sites and many things we wouldn't think we'd ever need to prove our identity for. I think the responsibility of this sort of thing should be on parents. Why should people be required to hand over their ID to access parts of the web? If large companies can't keep our personal information safe, why would we trust it to just any site that asks for it? Thankfully, there's been plenty of pushback on this sort of thing as of the obvious privacy and security risks. I think where a lot of people struggle is when asked in person for their phone number or email at checkout or in a restaurant. We feel obligated to comply. Lots of times, this can be expressed by the cashier as a convenient way to get your receipt or a discount, but it's usually just a way to get your info so they can start sending you marketing emails. I've certainly got some strange looks when I've declined providing such information. By law, marketing emails should contain an unsubscribe button, but we've been repeatedly told not to click links in emails, yet we need to click a tracked link to unsubscribe. This has been abused by scammers who know people will click that link, allowing them to use it in a malicious way. You are therefore better off using alias emails and cutting them off. You can use fake names and PO boxes on many online sites. I can't remember the last time I ordered something online and it showed up under my real name. It comes to my PO box without issue. Sure, I look a bit dodgy, but if it mitigates scam and helps protect my personal information, I'm all for it. Because if that information is leaked, it's not my real info. You can't do much with a random name, random email, and PO box. I'll also never answer a phone call from a number that's not in my contacts. You could ring me 300 times. I still won't answer. Because if it's important, they'll leave a message, and that allows me or anyone else to judge the call to see if it is legitimate. I don't even have a voicemail greeting, so if you do call, all you hear is the generic call greeting, but most people don't have to go that far. As for my friend, his mistake was providing his real info to anyone that asked. Sometimes you don't even have to be in a data breach or have given your info to the wrong person to receive spam. My grandmother got a new mobile phone number, and before she had even finished setting up voicemail, she had 2 missed calls from someone speaking in Chinese. This number may have been reissued from someone else, providing a new user with the previous user's spam. It's a forever changing world, and it's hard to keep up and stay safe. Laws can sometimes do more harm for your security and privacy than they do to protect them, because governments don't fully understand the risks and how to mitigate them. There are many more things you can do to stay secure online. So many, in fact, I could talk for hours. But the most important takeaways are to only provide your real information when strictly necessary, like to the government or for a passport. But use aliases wherever feasible. Don't click links in emails from people you don't know, and use different passwords and two-factor authentication for every account. There are things and systems I have in place that I won't be sharing, as the less you know about the specifics I use to protect myself, the more secure I remain. But what I have shared today are things the average person should consider, and if implemented correctly, will help reduce the amount of spam and the likelihood of being scammed. And on that note, this has been a Hugh Jeffreys video. If you like what you saw, consider subscribing and check out the playlist for tech that's not what it seems. And if you're looking for any used devices, be sure to check out my online store, link for which is down in the description. That's all for this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.